Yeah, I believe so. Statistically, it's pretty clear in the way he's played. I think that's there's some great performances, obviously, throughout the league, but Phil's done it in every game, so I think it's deserved.
Where did the evolution of him playing the 200 feet of ice start in terms of last season? Was it the second half of the season, do you think?
Yeah, probably over the last couple of months. And it probably came out of the constant discussions that if you're not scoring, you know, what can you do to help the team? And you know, and the other thing is he wants to participate a little bit on the PK as an example. And I've told him I'm not going to put you out in the PK unless you know you're getting a 200-foot game going. It's not going to be the cart before the horse. The horse has got to be first, and that would be getting the job done defensively 5-on-5, and then we'll think about PK.
Is that how he's earned that time near the end of the games as well?
Yeah, for sure. And I've always done that as a coach. You'd like to see your skill guys get out there, although I think Wayne Gretzky scored 92 empty net goals in his career. I'm not sure if Brett Hull ever scored one because Brett said that it didn't count if he scored an empty net goal. So I think Phil would like to get out in some of those get those opportunities too. But you can't cheat. You can't let your teammates down. And Phil's shown a willingness to get in the grind and has worked really hard in the couple of games when we've had those situations.
Is it confidence? Is it conditioning? Is there one thing that you can kind of put your finger on for the change?
Maturity, that's all. Maturity.
James Reimer just kept going on and on about what J.S. Giguère meant to him. Can you just talk about how vital it was to have a guy like that in the organization with your two young goalies and to be able to actually, you know, put the ego aside and mentor these two guys who were taking jobs away from him, really?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, throughout Jiggy's career, he's understood the way, how hard he practices, and unfortunately he's had a few injuries along the way. And Frankie Allaire's idea, at least with Jiggy, was he plays 50 and the other guy's got to play 32, so those other 32 games are equally as important as the ones that you're playing, and so Jiggy's always worked hard with the other goalie. And number one thing that Jiggy's put, I think, into James's head is how hard you have to work in order to stay consistent and be an effective goalie and have a long career. So Jiggy's passed that on to James, and then the support, you know, during games or in between games. The goalies are like almost pitchers on your team, and they have a different mentality, and to have someone talking you through some of the rough spots is huge.
Ron, in terms of the fourth line, you haven't had a heavy out last bunch of nights with Brown. Does the fact that Commissar is asserting himself so much physically sort of help that decision?
Yeah, but you know, I think he's never had a problem since he's been here asserting himself physically, and he's playing better now, making smarter decisions with the puck, making smarter decisions positionally on the ice. So, I mean, if the other team's not dressing that kind of toughness, I think we're deep enough right now that we can have a lot of different looks and options to our team, and that's how we proceeded so far.
And in terms of that fourth line, I mean, it's always, the breakdown has always been the fourth line as your grind, as your physical guy. You got a guy in Nazi who might come back and you might put on the fourth line. Do you see that fourth line evolving into more of a skill unit?
No, not really. You need in the course of the night to be able to have a definite shutdown line that can go out there and still be physical and do some of the dirty things, and in particular have guys on your fourth line who are good penalty killers, and we have that.
John Michael's ability to block shots, is this part of his leadership skill set, work ethic? 10 leads the team right now.
Yeah, no, he blocked a lot of shots last year too, and he's not afraid to get his body in the way, and he's smart enough to have a general idea where the puck's going to make sure that he is in the shooting lane.
Ron, I know there are not a lot of guys that were here at the start last season, but the ones that were, I'll talk about learning a lesson from the quick start last year, that you can't just sit and rest on it. Do you get a sense that they really get the difference between what they're doing now this year compared to that start last year?
Yeah, for sure. I think we probably got carried away. We've had a very workmanlike kind of attitude towards practice. They go out there, they're working hard. There's not a lot of whooping because we've won a couple of games. So I just don't worry about what happened in the last game. Let's focus on the next game and not be